Fanatics also reported a 100% increase in sales for WNBA specific merchandise. It started with Caitlin Clark. And so now that we know all of this, and we've known that for months, now we get to turn around and look and see what exactly is it that the league will do knowing that she's out for the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying I know for sure what's going to happen, but I have an idea.
The WNBA lets this happen just when you thought they were finally making sense of things and were prepared to ride Caitlin Clark's golden wave to the promised land of popular significance and financial success. And by this, I mean the injury that has every sports expert, basketball fan, and yes, even Stephen Smith himself completely insane.
Unfortunately, though, the celebration in the WNBA, it was cut short yesterday afternoon as WNBA players learned the harsh lesson, be careful what you wish for. Headline at the New York Post. Caitlin Clark sidelined with Indiana Felines announcing shock injury. Keyword, shock. This injury was shocking, but not for reasons that you may think.
Now sitting on the sidelines with a left quad strain is Caitlin Clark, the woman who single-handedly transformed women's basketball from a niche sport that your basketball-obsessed cousin watches into appointment television that has people canceling dinner arrangements. At least 2 weeks, they say. The WNBA has been pretending for 2 weeks that losing their biggest star, Golden Goose, and literal ratings magnet won't cause their viewership numbers to plummet more quickly than a house of cards during a hurricane.
Everybody was moving Caitlin Clark games to bigger facilities because everyone was selling tickets. There were ratings. It was a ratings bonanza. Now with Caitlin Clark not playing, what do? Well, when you change your situs, guess what? You can't change it back.
Yep.
All
the tickets are literally half the price, and there are entire sections of the stadium that have not sold any tickets.
And who was the first to blow up over this? Who was the first to point out how absurd this situation is? None other than Stephen A. Smith, who has stood up for Caitlin Clark from the beginning when half of the WNBA establishment treated her like a basketball tourist who had unintentionally entered their league.
Thanks to Clark, Indiana led the league in attendance both at home and on the road. The Fever averaged 17,035 fans at home and over 15,000 on the road. 4 teams moved home games to bigger arenas when Indiana came to town to accommodate more fans. That's about Caitlin Clark. How do we know this? Attendance for the entire league was up nearly 50% last year. According to data from across the timeline, and Indiana led all teams with an average attendance of 17,035. That was up 319% from the year earlier.
Stephen didn't only discuss this injury. He went completely insane. And to be honest, it's about time someone did, because Stephen is out there sharing facts that would make a mathematician cry with delight, while everyone else is avoiding the obvious, attempting to be politically correct, and acting as though Caitlin Clark isn't actually carrying this league on her back. We'll investigate. When asked how large of a blow Clark's injury is to the WNBA, Stephen responded, "We don't know yet." However, I'm going to be incredibly curious to see how this affects the WNBA's ratings, because if there is a sharp decline for any reason, then everyone should stop watching.
We'll find out. We don't know yet, but I'm going to be really, really interested in seeing, Molly, what kind of effect this has on the WNBA's ratings, because if for some reason there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is valid.
Please subscribe if you're having fun. Oh, you lovely logical brilliance, Stephen. Because that's just what will occur, isn't it? The man is essentially sitting there with a stopwatch, prepared to record the very moment the WNBA recognizes they've been undervaluing their most important asset. It's similar to witnessing someone whine about being broke while ignoring a pot of gold. Stephen is the person shouting, "The gold is right there," as he stands there. It appears that certain members of the WNBA front office require a calculator and a reality check. So let's take a moment to discuss numbers. This season, An average of 1.178 million people have watched games starring Caitlin Clark. A pitiful 394,000 people watched the games without her. That's more than just a distinction. That's a 199% gap that would allow a freight train to pass through. To put this into context, that even the most math-challenged sports executive might comprehend, 3 times as many people watch Clark's games as those that don't have her.
Became the first rookie with at least 25 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds in a playoff game. That was Caitlin Clark. Became the 4th different rookie to play all 40 minutes in a playoff game. That was her. I'm looking at other things. 6 different league television partners. This is last year. This is last season, because this is Caitlin Clark that we're talking about. 6 different league television partners set viewership records that year, her rookie year, for its highest viewed WNBA game. Do you know every one of those games included the Indiana Fever?
Folks, this is where it gets very hot. Stephen Smith's anger is not limited to the injury. He has spent months preparing for this moment. This man has seen the WNBA falter while attempting to manage their biggest star. He has witnessed famous players like Cheryl Swoops behave as though Clark was an intruder rather than the league's much-needed salvation. When they ought to have been organizing ticker tape parades, he has seen the league's leadership, especially Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, respond with indifference. And now that Clark is hurt, Stephen is basically screaming, in the most dramatic way possible, "I told you so." And acknowledge the Stephen went on. The conjecture or the claims and presumptions about her being the golden goose are validated. You will know that you are riding that wave if that occurs. Every boat rises with the tide. And if this is what attracts fans to the WNBA, and her absence for the next 2 weeks due to that quad strain is more proof of that, then everyone should embrace it, get up, and ride the wave. To put it another way, the WNBA's ratings are going to plummet, and Stephen will use those figures as a sledgehammer against everyone who has been too arrogant or unyielding to acknowledge what has been clear from the start.
Tide lifts all boats. And if this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence over the next 2 weeks due to that quad strain is providing further evidence of that, then everybody needs to accept it, stand down, and ride that wave. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how the ratings are going to look without her over the next 2 weeks. Let's make sure we come back and ask me this exact same question after she's been gone for those 2 weeks.
Let's take a moment to look back and discuss how we arrived. Caitlin Clark became a one-woman economic stimulus package when she joined the WNBA. The most watched WNBA game on ESPN networks ever was the season opener between Clark's Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, which attracted 2.7 million viewers on ABC. For a league that has been struggling for relevance for more than 20 years, that figure is not only remarkable, but practically miraculous. Here's the worst part, though, we received this rather than the WNBA executives bowing down to the basketball gods and expressing gratitude for this gift. Bland social media postings and lukewarm press announcements, they appeared to be ashamed of their own achievements, too afraid to acknowledge that a single player might have such a significant impact. After witnessing this in real time, Stephen A. Smith has been gradually escalating his irritation into a volcanic eruption. While some players and commentators acted as though Clark didn't deserve the limelight, he has witnessed her break viewing records, fill arenas, and effectively bring the WNBA into the mainstream.
We know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had. They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here. And y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up.
The man has been standing up for Clark against detractors who appear to be more concerned with defending their own egos than appreciating the rising tide that was helping everyone. Steven was there to call it out when former WNBA players began making disparaging remarks and behaving bitter rather than appreciative. In reference to Clark's outspoken detractors, Steven remarked, "They act like there isn't or hasn't been legitimate resentment." However, nobody has been duped here. And since Clark isn't simply missing any previous games, we can now witness Steven's prediction come true in real time. Marquee matchups that were meant to be television gold are being missed by her. That eagerly awaited rematch with the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese are no more. Networks relied on a number of nationally aired games to boost viewership. Poof. When you give it some serious thought, the financial ramifications are astounding. Not only are the Indiana Fever losing their best player, but they are also losing their main source of income. Clark is more than simply the team's assist leader and top scorer. People literally buy tickets, watch television, and buy stuff because of her. Without her, the Fever become just another WNBA club that the majority of casual fans couldn't recognize out of a lineup, rather than a must-see TV show.
Look, I think Stephen A is 100% correct on this. At the end of the day, you already see people actually saying, hey, I'm not watching for 2 weeks. I'm not tuning in for 2 weeks. And it's really bad news for the Mystics and the Sky, because both of those teams moved those games to big arenas. So it's like, now that she's not playing, what is that attendance going to look like? The viewership, right? The viewership is going to plummet. I already know, because majority of the people that's watching the Indiana Fever wants to see Caitlin Clark. And sad to say it, a lot of them only want to see Caitlin Clark. They don't really care about the entire.
However, this is the point at which Steven's annoyance truly boils over. All of this could have been avoided, but not the actual injury. Sports injuries do occur, but the league completely fails to focus and safeguard their most important asset. Clark has been absorbing hits that would make NFL linebackers wince during her debut season and into the new one. Irresponsible targeting, risky plays, and flagrant fouls. What action did the WNBA take? They pretend that it was merely a component of the game. Like the rest of us, Steven has likely been yelling at his TV while he watches this. This player is genuinely changing the course of the league. Additionally, rather than treating her like a precious object and covering her in bubble wrap, the WNBA, she is treated like a punching bag by her opponents. It's corporate malpractice. Steven is aware that the numbers are accurate. The loss to the New York Liberty in Clark's most recent game before to the injury nevertheless attracted 2.22 million people on CBS, making it the second most viewed WNBA game ever on the network. Clark was pulling numbers that most WNBA games could only dream of, even in a close loss or defeat.
The Fever and the Liberty, peaking at 3.2 million viewers. 3.2. And again, second most viewed game on CBS ever. I have no idea what the most viewed game was.
Now consider the identical time slots in the absence of Clark. Imagine attempting to explain the recent 200% decline in ratings to television executives. Imagine attempting to persuade sponsors that the WNBA is still worthwhile when their main attraction is sitting on the bench in streetwear. Steven doesn't need to envision it. He's going to watch it happen, and with the joy of a guy who has been proven correct about everything he's been saying for months, he will record every agonizing decline in ratings. Here's what really irritates Steven, though. If the WNBA had simply paid attention, this could have been prevented. Instead of attempting to minimize Clark, they should have treated her like the transcendent star that she clearly is at Impact. If they had given her more protection, actively promoted her, and recognized her contributions rather than pretending that her success was an accident. There is more to the Clark effect than just specific games. It concerns the women's basketball ecology as a whole. People who have never watched the WNBA before suddenly get interested when she plays. Those same individuals will tune out before you can pronounce quad strain if she is hurt. Furthermore, it will be almost impossible to get them back after they are gone.
You literally cannot make this up. When she's not playing, ticket prices, merchandise sales plummet. Viewership declines when she is not suited up in uniform. The numbers do not lie, guys. Caitlin Clark is the biggest box office attraction in the WNBA, period. Facts over feeling.
Steven seems to have a different understanding of this than the WNBA leadership. He is able to perceive the wider picture. Clark is more than a mere athlete. She is a phenomenon. She serves as a link between the WNBA's possible future success and its previous setbacks. The league is currently on the verge of becoming irrelevant as a result of the bridge being temporarily closed for maintenance. The most annoying thing is that everything was foreseeable. You safeguard that investment when a player attracts viewership comparable to that of NBA games, or when a single person completely transforms the discourse surrounding women's basketball. You don't let opponents to hack, grab, and commit flagrant fouls without facing severe repercussions. You don't handle like any other gamer. You're a golden goose. However, the WNBA did just that. And now Steven is sitting there with an "I told you," so that will reverberate for weeks because he will be the first to point out that this was completely predictable and entirely preventable when the ratings for games without Clark come in and the viewership numbers plummet back to pre-Clark levels. The story is already being told by the fan response. The millions of people who began watching Clark the WNBA is already discussing boycotting games until she returns, especially because of her. Fans claim on social media that they won't watch subpar basketball without the star who initially piqued their interest in the league.
I mean, with Caitlin Clark being out of the picture, you know what's already happened in the WNBA? Yeah, that's right. Those ticket prices went way down. And you would think most of the ladies in the league would want to wish Caitlin a very speedy and successful recovery, because without her in that league, it's going back to where it was before she even got drafted to the Indiana.
Can you really blame them? Why would you stick around to watch games that make you want to return to black and white TV after seeing color for the first time if you're a casual fan who started watching because Caitlin Clark made the game appointment television? Steven witnesses everything that is taking place. Additionally, you can almost hear him revving up for the biggest "I told you so" in the history of sports journalism, because there are multiple injured players involved. This is about a league that had a lot of luck, but they were able to let it go away from them. There will be a referendum on everything Steven has been saying over the next weeks. The WNBA benefits from Caitlin Clark. And based on every piece of evidence we have, every rating that has been recorded, every sold-out ticket, and every crowded venue, Steven is going to be shown to be more correct than he probably even wants to be, because the WNBA will have to face a reality that Stephen A. Smith has been talking about for months once the dust settles and the data are in. They ignored the fact that they had a savior. They can now experience what life is like without.